Joe Joyce never set out to be a boxer. Joseph Joyce, born to a Scots-born Irish father and a mother of Nigerian ancestry, was a track and field athlete who was studying fine arts in the United States at Sacramento State. While there, he juggled his academic and athletic pursuits, including a spot on the cheerleading squad. He was more likely to end up being a painter like his father, the Vincent van Gogh or Picasso type of painter, that is. He graduated with his fine arts degree in 2009. Later, he was quoted as saying the favourite portrait he'd painted is the one of Muhammad Ali you see on screen. But life got in the way of his artistic pursuits, with Joyce giving up athletics due to injury and turning to boxing at age 22, joining Earlsfield ABC in London. The big 6'6" Joyce took to boxing well, and his power was obvious, although he was very raw technically. He started making waves within a few years on the amateur scene and had a breakout year in 2012 when he won the super heavyweight category at the GB Amateur Boxing Championships, beating Fraser Clark in the final. The then 26-year-old also won the ABAE title that same year, as well as a gold at a tournament in Finland. In 2012, he was also selected for his first World Series of Boxing fight, which he won against an Italian opponent. The WSB is the only professional-style tournament where boxers retain their Olympic eligibility. In an interview at the time, Joyce stated, "Losing the headguard and vest was appealing, as was the extra exposure and the financial benefits. With the entrance music and the lights, entering the ring feels a lot more like I'm part of a show." Joyce would compete in the WSB over the course of 5 years, winning 14 of his 16 fights. A notable win was against the much more seasoned amateur Filip Hrgović in February 2013. But just a month later, he would be thoroughly outclassed by reigning Olympic gold medalist Alexander Usyk, who swept all 5 rounds and was toying with Joyce at times. Also in 2013, Joyce was knocked out in 2 major tournaments, with a relatively unknown Algerian stopping him in the first round of the World Boxing Championships, with Joyce given 2 standing 8 counts in the first minute of the fight, and later a right hook ended the fight. He was also stopped at the European Championships by Sergey Kuzmin in the semi-finals, having to be content with a bronze medal. Not deterred, Joyce kept training and improving. In 2014, having a golden year at the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow, Joyce powered his way through the competition and put on a dominating performance against Australia's Joseph Goodall to claim the gold. 2015 would prove to be a big year for the Brit, who took bronze at the World Championships in Doha and later claimed gold at the European Games in Baku. On winning gold, Joyce was quoted as saying, "I came here to win the gold. I just need to follow the road. It's more exposure, I hope, and more support from when I do get to Rio. Anthony Joshua has led the way. We are different people and have a different path. However, you look to what has gone before to improve yourself." In April 2016, Joyce won a gold medal at the European Olympic Trials to qualify for the Rio 2016 Olympics. After making the Great Britain squad, Joyce said, "I watched the last Olympics as a spectator and saw how brilliantly Team GB performed, so now to be part of it is an amazing feeling. It's great that we have such a strong team of boxers going to the Games, and we aim to build on the success that Great Britain achieved last time round." Joyce was one of 12 boxers to make the trip to Rio with Team GB. At the Games, Joyce breezed into the round of 16 with a bye, where he made quick work of his Cape Verde opponent, setting up a quarter-final with Uzbekistan amateur standout Bakodir Jalolov. Joyce started strong in their match, wearing Jalolov down in the opening 2 rounds with body shots, and Joyce, the world in tournament number 3, finished strong, with his opponent having 2 standing 8 counts in the final round. In the semi-final, Joyce came up against 2012 bronze medalist Kazakh Ivan Daichko, who won the opening round, meaning Joyce had to pick up the tempo and win the second and third rounds to take the match. And he did, finishing strong to win the final 2 rounds and book a place in the gold medal match. There he would face Tony Yoka, but lose. It was a controversial loss, with many believing Joyce had won the fight, and the punch stats seemingly backed this up. Joe Joyce believed he had won, saying, "I was working him to the body, working him to the head. I thought I was penetrating his guard. Maybe towards the end of a round he would nick a few shots, but the majority of the work was done by me, working the head and body. I thought I was landing a lot of shots long range, and then I was getting in close and hitting him with shots too. I thought I won the match. I thought I did enough to win the gold medal." Joyce was one of 3 Team GB boxers to medal at the Rio Games. It would be the best part of a year before Joe Joyce announced he was turning pro. The 32-year-old signed under the Haymaker Ringstar promotional banner, which was a joint venture between David Haye and Richard Schaefer, and he would be trained by veteran trainer Ismael Salas. The stated goal was to accelerate Joyce's prospect phase and have him fighting for a world title sooner rather than later. For his first fight, it was announced Joyce would take on tough domestic rival Ian Lewison, which for a first fight in the paid ranks was considered a more than adequate fight. In mid-July 2018, it was announced Joyce's trainer Ismael Salas was going into semi-retirement and would no longer be training Joe Joyce. But within a couple of weeks, the noted trainer Abel Sanchez, who runs the Big Bear facility in California, was confirmed as Joyce's trainer. A few weeks after that, in mid-August, Joyce announced he and his manager Sam Jones would now be working with the boxing power broker and advisor Al Heyman, with Joyce having signed on with Heyman. The situation regarding David Haye in Joyce's career was now in question, and it wouldn't be clarified until November 2018 when Joyce announced their split. The signs of an eventual split had been picked up on fans well before it happened, as Haye was unable to consistently get Joyce in the fights he wanted Joyce to be in. Aside from the Lewison fight and later Lenroy Thomas for the Commonwealth title in his 4th fight, Joyce had meaningless and often last-minute arranged fights against the likes of Rudolf Josic, Donny Palmer and Ivica Bakurin. Joyce, however, was still working with Ringstar's Richard Schaefer, and he appeared on a Schaefer card in September 2018 for his American debut against Iago Kaladze. Joyce would later fight in December against Joe Hanks, beating him in half a round. After that fight, Joyce verbally agreed with Cuban contender Luis Ortiz to fight each other, although this has not been scheduled at the time of this video being published. Under Salas and Sanchez, Joyce has shown improvement since his amateur days and is shaking off the tag of having an amateur style, replaced with a reputation for being a fierce puncher with a great engine. But questions do remain over how far he can go in the division, and some have labelled his punches, albeit hard, slow as molasses. Joyce's chin is also yet to be tested at the highest level, as he's mostly run through what has been overmatched opponents to date. and given he's now 33 years old, soon to be 34, he will likely have a smaller window of his prime than other heavyweights who turn pro in their 20s. Joyce remains a man in a hurry. He is scheduled to face Bermane Stiverne in February 2019, but after that, it's anyone's guess what next. Although his manager Sam Jones has stated on social media that Joyce will fight for a title within about 12 months. Joe Joyce is improving, but he's also aging, and it's likely he won't be regarded as a prospect for much longer as he looks to climb the heavyweight ranks quickly. Thank you for joining me in this latest episode of The Rise Of, featuring Joe Joyce. As always, drop a comment, loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.